Welcome to Fly Ventures at the Vise. In this episode, we're going to demonstrate how to tie a simple bunny crayfish jig pattern. This crayfish pattern is being tied on a 1/4 ounce lead jig hook coated with watermelon seed Protect powder paint. As with all flies, we'll start by laying down a thread base. We'll work the thread down the hook bend a bit in preparation for adding the next material, a ball of sparkle chenille. The thread base wrapping and subsequent trimming is monotonous, so this segment has been sped up appropriately. Next, tie in some sparkle chenille at and down the bend of the hook. Create a small ball of the sparkle chenille. Its purpose is to help splay the silly legs and rabbit zonker strips to be added next. Again, the segment has been sped up slightly to fit within the verbal description. Now, take a strand of silly legs, fold it equally over your thread, position the halves such that they are splayed equally around the ball of chenille. Sometimes this takes a bit of finagling. The silly legs are to be representative of the crayfish's antennae. Next, tie in one of the pre-cut 1.5 inch long zonker strips on the far side of the hook bend. Once complete, repeat the process on the near side of the hook. These zonker strips are to be tied in angled downward to represent the crayfish's pinchers. This jig is fished hook up, so the pinchers will actually be pointed up when fished. Here, a quick view of the completed pinchers and antennae assembly. Now, tie in a 5-inch segment of 20-pound monofilament. This will act as ribbing and reinforcement for the zonker strip to be added shortly. Next, tie in another pre-cut 1 1/2 inch zonker strip. The strip is being intentionally tied in upside down. Be sure to tie this in with the fur pointed toward the hook bend and that the hair fibers are oriented towards the tail of the jig when it's folded over. Verify that you have enough rabbit strip to cover the hook shank before proceeding to the next step. We will now create the underbody of the crayfish by tying in more crystal chenille. Advance your thread to the base of the jig head, apply a couple of half hitches. Use the rotary function of the vise and palmer the chenille to the base of the jig head. Tie off the chenille and snip the excess free. Now, fold over the zonker strip. Stretch the strip a bit, separate some of the rabbit fibers, tie off the zonker strip and snip away any excess. Be sure to securely tie in the zonker strip with a few more thread wraps. Grab the monofilament added previously and counter wrap the chenille, wrapping in the opposite direction the chenille was added. Separate the rabbit fur. Do your best to wrap only the leather strip. Repeat this process until you reach the jig head. Secure the monofilament and snip off any excess. Now, use a brush or a Velcro strip to scrub the zonker strip and free up any trapped fibers. Trim off any stray fibers. Now, create a 4 to 5 inch dubbing loop. If you're unsure how to do this, there are many great videos out there on YouTube. Use the last piece of the pre-cut 1.5 inch zonker strips. Slide it into the clip, trim away the leather, put your dubbing spinner in the loop, add some dubbing wax onto the loop, insert the clip with the rabbit fibers, pinch the loop, spread out the rabbit fibers to be uniform, leaving only a small amount of base fibers sticking out. Use the dubbing spinner to spin the loop tightly, then use a brush to separate the fibers. Using the rotary function of the vise, wrap the rabbit fur dubbing loop around the hook until the entire loop has been applied. Tie off the loop, trim the excess, fold back the dubbing loop fibers, add a few securing wraps, apply a couple to a few half hitches or a whip finish, and trim off the excess thread. Using a brush or Velcro strip, brush back the rabbit fibers to tidy up the head of the crayfish pattern. We will complete the pattern by trimming the antenna and the pinchers if required. You can optionally coat the zonker strip leather of the pinchers with UV resin to stiffen them up. I chose not to for this variation. Give the crayfish a final once over before removing it from the vise. Crayfish pattern, tied this way, generates a lot of movement in the water when jigged. The colors can be modified to suit the naturals where you fish. As I wrap up this tying tutorial, here are a couple additional color examples to consider tying for yourself. I do hope that if you watched this to the end that you got something out of this tutorial. If you did, please hit the like button and add a comment. You can also visit my YouTube channel to see my complete Fly Ventures video library. Please consider subscribing to receive notifications of future releases. Comments are always welcome. Thank you for watching.